Australia was the dream. Now Aussies are escaping to Asia just to survive.
Official stats show 3.3 million Australians live in poverty, a quarter of them children. Who is defined as poor? Any couple with 2 kids on about $1,000 a week, any single who earns under $500 a week. The Hunger Report found 2 million Australians experienced food insecurity in the last year, skipping meals, going without.
Well, the coalition is arguing that per capita living standards will not return to pre-2021-22 levels until at least a decade away, so by the 2029-2030 financial year. And they say that this is just the grim reality of the inflation crisis that Australia is facing.
Renters and homeowners are not the only ones strangled by inflation. Small businesses across the country are also stuffed.
It's a situation you never want to find yourself in.
People might end up sleeping in their car. We've got families up and down the country sleeping in tents.
New research revealing more than 3 million Aussies are at risk of homelessness, just one negative shock away from ending up on the streets.
Someone might be on a low income, vulnerable to discrimination, and then they have something happen, like they lose income from their job, perhaps they're sick for a few weeks, or they have to leave a home because of family violence.
I mean, are they waiting for complete everyone, to go under? Are they waiting for a recession? Because that's where it's heading. That's how I feel about it.
More and more Australians are packing their bags and heading overseas, not for a gap year, not for a holiday, but to live. And where are they going? Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Bali. Places once seen as holiday escapes are now becoming full-time homes for everyday Aussies. Why? Because for many, living in Asia is better than struggling in Australia. Let's break it all down. Cost of living, quality of life, healthcare, housing, and more, to see why Australians are saying goodbye to the so-called lucky country and hello to something that actually works. Chapter 1. Cost of living breakdown. Let's start with the numbers. What does it actually cost to live in Asia compared to Australia? Let's begin with rent on a monthly basis, on a 1-bedroom apartment in Sydney. Bangkok, 500 Australian dollars. Bali, $450. Kuala Lumpur, 480 Australian dollars. Sydney, 2,800 Australian dollars. And Melbourne, 2,300 Australian dollars. That's 4 to 6 times cheaper than in Australian capital cities. In many Asian cities, you can rent an entire villa or condo with a pool for less than what a shoebox apartment costs in Sydney. Now let's discuss groceries on a weekly basis. Bangkok, $50. Bali, $45. Kuala Lumpur, $55. Sydney, Melbourne, $180 to $250. Then come utilities on a monthly basis. Asia, $60 to $90. And Australia, $300 to $400. And let's not forget transport on monthly basis. Asia, $40 to $70, while Australia sits around $200 to $300. And of course, dining out. A good meal in Bangkok costs around $4. In Australia, you'll struggle to find lunch for under $20. Coffee, $1.50 in Vietnam versus $5.50 in Sydney. In every category, Asia wins on cost. And these aren't just tourist prices. These are actual expat living costs, reported by Australians. Chapter 2. Healthcare. Cheaper and better? Here's the surprise for many. Healthcare in Asia can be better. Private hospitals in Thailand and Malaysia are world-class. Many Australians get dental work, surgery, and annual checkups there. Not because it's cheaper, though it is, but because the service is better. Thailand. GP visit around $20. Malaysia. Specialist visit will cost you $40 to $70, while in Australia, a GP visit, non-bulk billed, will cost at least $95. A crown in Bangkok, $400. In Sydney, easily over $1,500. In Australia, Medicare is under pressure. Bulk billing is disappearing. Waiting lists are growing. Private health insurance costs are up 8% in 2025. with larger gap fees. People are now flying overseas to get treatment that used to be available at home. Thailand even promotes medical tourism with concierge services, modern hospitals, and English-speaking doctors, all for a fraction of what you'd pay in Australia. Chapter 3. Housing ownership and affordability. Owning a home in Australia has become a pipe dream. Sydney median house price, $1.3 million. Melbourne, $900,000, while Brisbane sits at $780,000. Even in the outskirts, it's not much better. Add interest rates, stamp duty, and fees, you're buried before you even get the keys. Compare that to Chiang Mai Villa, $180,000, Kuala Lumpur 2BR condo in city, $220,000, and Bali townhouse, $140,000 with leasehold. While foreigners can't always buy freehold, long-term leasing and investment-friendly rules make owning or renting long-term viable. And that means more Aussies are now retiring early or working remotely from properties they'd never dream of affording back home. Chapter 4. Quality of life. What money can't buy. Let's get into the real stuff. How does life feel overseas compared to Australia? Australians in Asia consistently report lower stress, more time for hobbies, socializing, family, affordable domestic help, cleaning, laundry, cooking, access to nature, warm weather, and beaches. You can go out to eat every night in Asia and still spend less than a weekly grocery bill in Australia. And with flexible remote work options, you're not chained to a 9-to-5 schedule. Many digital nomads say they work fewer hours and get more life back. In Bali, you might finish work and head to the beach for a surf. In Sydney, you're stuck in traffic on Parramatta Road. Chapter 5. Tax, visas, and remote work. Asia welcomes you. If you're earning income in Australia, you still pay tax. But if you're living and working overseas, especially remotely, you can legally reduce your expenses while maintaining income. Many Asian countries now offer digital nomad visas, e.g. Thailand, Malaysia, Bali. Retirement visas with flexible age, income conditions, and long-term social visit passes for freelancers and families. Some even offer tax breaks for foreign income or exemptions for long stays. Meanwhile, in Australia, personal income tax hits 45% at the top end. Stamp duty and capital gains tax strip your investments. Superannuation rules limit access to your own retirement savings. Asia isn't just cheaper, it's friendlier to mobile professionals and early retirees. Chapter 6. Education and kids. Yes, even families are leaving. It's not just digital nomads and retirees. Aussie families are also making the shift. International schools in Asia are growing rapidly. Many Australians are enrolling their kids in Singapore International School, Thailand, Garden International School, Malaysia, and Australian International School, Vietnam. Annual tuition? Around 6,000 to 12,000 Australian dollars, depending on grade. That's cheaper than many Australian private schools, which can run $20,000 to $35,000 per child. And with cheaper housing, childcare, and a more relaxed pace of life, parents say they're actually spending time with their kids, not just managing logistics. Chapter 7. Retirement in Asia. A new Australian dream? Superannuation doesn't go far in Australia anymore. Median super balance at retirement, $183,000 average rent. Sydney, 750 Australian dollars per week. Private health premiums, up 60% in 10 years. Retirees are now looking abroad. In Thailand, you can live comfortably on $1,500 per month. In Malaysia, full retirement lifestyle at $1,800 per month. Compare that to Australia, where the ASFA retirement standard says a comfortable retirement needs $70,000 per year. Thousands of Australians have already relocated permanently, joining expat communities in Penang, Chiang Mai, and Ubud. Why scrape by when you can retire like royalty for half the cost? Chapter 8. Real Aussies making the move. Chris, 36, Perth to Penang. I was paying $2,400 a month in rent. Now I rent a condo with ocean views for $550. Healthcare is cheap, the food is amazing, and my stress is gone. Nina, 42, Melbourne to Chiang Mai. I teach online. In Oz, I was drowning. Here I can afford a cleaner, eat well, travel, and still save. Mike and Sarah, late 50s, Gold Coast to Bali. We retired early. Back home, we would have been scraping by. Here we live well, surf every day, and our super stretches a lot further. Darren, 29, Brisbane to Ho Chi Minh City. I work in IT remotely. I'm saving $1,500 a month just on living costs. Best decision I've made. Linda, 48, Adelaide to Kuala Lumpur. I'm a single mom. Rent, school fees, bills. Asia made things possible that Australia never did. These aren't trust fund kids. They're everyday Australians, workers, parents, early retirees, all building lives they couldn't afford back home. Chapter 9. What are the downsides? No place is perfect. Living abroad comes with trade-offs. Language barriers, though many places have strong English infrastructure. Visa renewals and bureaucracy. Air quality in some cities, and healthcare quality varies in rural areas. And of course, family and social connections back home can be hard to leave behind. But for many, the trade-offs are worth it. Because the stress, the burnout, the cost of survival in Australia is breaking people. Chapter 10. The real reason Aussies are leaving. It's not just about money, it's about freedom. Australians are tired of being told to work harder, hustle more, save longer, and wait decades for a life that never comes. In Asia, many say they feel respected, relaxed, and in control. Life isn't perfect overseas, but at least it isn't rigged. And when people see they can afford housing, healthcare, education, and free time, they don't come back. Final thoughts. Is life in Asia better than Australia? For more and more Aussies, the answer is absolutely. Not because they've given up on their country, but because their country gave up on them. Australia is still beautiful, still rich, still full of potential. But it's become a place where that potential is locked behind mortgage debt, tax bills, and 60-hour work weeks. Meanwhile, just a few hours north, a better life is not only possible, it's already happening. To see just how broken the cost of living has become in Australia, check out this next video here.